The Book of Eli is a 2010 American post-apocalyptic neo-western action film directed by the Hughes brothers, written by Gary Whitta, and starring Denzel Washington, Gary Oldman, MILA Kunis, Ray Stevenson, and Jennifer Beals. The story revolves around Eli, a nomad in a post-apocalyptic world who is told by a voice to deliver a copy of his mysterious book to a safe location on the west coast of the United States. The history of this post-war world is explained along the way, as is the importance of Eli's task. Today we bring you 10 things you didn't know about the Book of Eli. Welcome to the Life Television. Tell them, KK.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Number 10. Denzel Washington involvement. In September 2008, Denzel Washington won the lead role. He was convinced by his son to do the film, as he did on other films such as Training Day and American Gangster. Denzel and his son also became co-producers on the film. Denzel says he became a producer because he was touched by the original script. Number 9. Script rewrites. In May 2007, Columbia Pictures and Warner Brothers signed the Hughes brothers to direct the film, based on the script by Gary Whitta. Subsequently, Anthony Peckman rewrote the script. Between the rewrites, the script lost its spiritual aspect and became more of an action film. But Denzel and his son fought to keep the spiritual themes because they did not want it to be just an action film. Number 8. Nuclear apocalypse. The movie takes place in 2043, but the film doesn't explicitly mention that the apocalypse was because of a nuclear war. Screenwriter Gary Whitta preferred to leave clues of the apocalypse instead. There are a few clues that indicate nuclear war, like the large bomb craters that the characters are sometimes near. In a cave scene with Solara, Eli explains that the sun came through the sky to the earth. This was a reference to the depletion of the ozone layer caused by the war. Number 7. MILA Kunis. MILA Kunis says she didn't read the script, but chose the film because she wanted to work with Denzel Washington, Gary Oldman, and the Hughes brothers. After reading the script, she didn't think she would get it, but she still fought for it. She says she felt grateful to share the screen with Denzel, only being 25 years old. She says she learned a lot from watching Denzel, and he was warm and protective on set. She said the only bad part about shooting was working in the desert for 3 months. She even used the same gun she used on a previous film, Max Payne, a semi-automatic, because she was comfortable with it. She called the Hughes brothers brilliant. She says Gary Oldman was one of the funniest people she ever worked with. Number 6. Gary Oldman. In October 2008, Gary Oldman was cast to star alongside Washington. Denzel says, "We needed someone strong to play the bad guy, and Gary Oldman is one of the greatest actors of our time." Oldman was cast at the suggestion of Washington. Oldman said the movie reminded him of a Western, and he never did anything like this in his career. He was excited to work with the Hughes brothers, and was a fan of their movies, American Pimp and Menace to Society. Oldman helped to develop the character Carnegie, and suggested that he be clean-shaven, much different than all the other characters who sported beards. The meaning being that in the movie he was the character with most power. He had the land and the water. He said the directors were very open and they would let him reshoot scenes that he thought he can do better with. This is the second film that Oldman played a villain who was ultimately disappointed by not getting the sacred artifact in question at the end of the film. The first film was The Fifth Element in 1997. Number 5. The Hughes brothers. In May 2007, Columbia Pictures and Warner Brothers signed the Hughes brothers to direct the film. The brothers prepared a lookbook that helped the actors and cinematographers visualize the characters and the landscape of the film. MILA Kunis said the directors are brilliant and that they filled each other's gaps. Albert taking care of the technical side of things, and Alan taking care of the dialogue. As of 2020, this is the last film credited to the Hughes brothers, before Alan and Albert Hughes terminated their partnership as directors and ventured off into their own projects. Number 4. Denzel's preparation. Denzel Washington performed all of his own stunts in the hand-to-hand fight sequences. For the movie, he studied martial arts under Bruce Lee's protege, Dart, in Asanto. Washington shed about 50 pounds to prepare for this role. Being the son of a minister, he was already prepared for the spiritual aspects of the film. Gary Oldman said that he was impressed by Denzel's commitment to the film at this stage of his career. Number 3. Cannibal disease. The reason the cannibals' hand shakes is that they suffer from Kuru disease, a form of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease that's caused by eating human brains and spinal columns. The first symptom is shaking limbs, which is why people check Eli's hands throughout the movie. Number 2. San Francisco. Making the look of San Francisco was difficult. Up until then, the look of the film was very dark and desaturated. But when they reached San Francisco, was the first time in the film where you seen green grass, vegetation, and warm skies, and the colors coming back in the movie. The look served as a moment of hope and vitality in the film. The filmmakers worked real hard to create the two looks of the film. They wanted to create a look that represented a world that's been bombed and new life growing over the soot, vegetation and sunshine coming back over the destruction. Number 1. ELI'S blindness. One of the most interesting aspects of the film was Eli's vision. In the end, it becomes apparent that he's lost his vision. Throughout the film, there are clues that he is blind. Eli wears dark glasses, as blind people often do. Eli does not shoot the cat until it meows. When Solara's mother first walks in with food and water, they have a standoff, both waiting for the other to act. His sense of smell is real heightened, saying that he can smell her shampoo. Eli says that when the war happened, the sun came down and the light left the world. Eli doesn't see the no trespassing sign when they approach the home of the cannibals. The old cannibals say, "Didn't you read the sign?" And Eli says, "Oh, I must not have seen it." Eli even tells Solara, "We walk by faith and not by sight." The Book of Eli is a cult classic with great direction, performances, writing, cinematography, and great production makes this movie a classic film.